and start the day. Cool. All right, so today it's going to be pretty short again. Yesterday didn't go too long, probably 20, 25 minutes or so. I'm going to lecture about the Ecosphere project, going to give you some of the basic science behind it, then the setup and the data collection that's going to be due next week. Let's go through some iNaturalist feedback. I want to hear from you guys how it went. I'll tell you about what I saw and some things to correct for next week. Pretty much everyone did it, just a few things I want to touch on. And then just going to go through any of the assignments for next week. So if you want to follow along, if you have your lab manual, I'm starting on page 9. That's kind of where we'll jump off from. Cool. So this week is talking about ecospheres, but what is an ecosphere? So an ecosphere is any community of organisms contained in some way by some parameters. So you can consider coral reefs an ecosphere because they're contained to the upper light levels of the ocean. So no light penetrates deeper than 200 meters, means no corals live deeper than 200 meters. So coral reefs as a whole can be considered an ecosphere. Your book gives the example of our whole planet being an ecosphere. You know, we are bound to the parameters of the stratosphere and on all the upper atmosphere. So we can be considered an ecosphere as well. That's synonymous with the term biosphere. If the spider in your bathroom never leaves, then you've created the perfect ecosphere for that spider to live in. You can kind of think of an ecosphere as pretty much an ecosystem too. Those are interchangeable words as well. Ecosystem has all these different parameters by which it functions under. Same thing with an ecosphere. It's got all these different parameters that make it what it is. Like for the spider in the bathroom example, if it never leaves, it loves living there. That's a little ecosystem you created for that spider in relation to that spider. All right. So what are some of the boundaries that contain the ecosphere? The ecospheres or ecosystems are bounded by non-living, which are abiotic, or living parameters, which are biotic parameters. All right. Remember, biology, bio is pretty much life. So living parameters are biotic and non-living parameters are abiotic. So in the coral reef example, abiotic parameters include, of course, we said light, right? They're bounded by light, so that's a non-living thing. And then pH of water, that's another non-living thing that's bounded by, coral reefs. If it's too acidic, they won't live there. So they need the right pH of the water. Temperature is another big one. A lot of things are bounded by temperature. They can't live in certain areas because it's too cold or too warm. So those are just some non-living examples of what can bound an ecosphere or ecosystem. Some living parameters that may bound the coral reefs: the presence of other corals, the presence of fish, the presence of microorganisms. Corals have a symbiotic relationship with algae living in their tissue, so they need that relationship. Those are all living species, living animals on the coral reef that make the coral reef their home and make it function super well. All right. So in the spider example, abiotic parameters include maybe the humidity of your bathroom, again, temperature, whether it's got nice spaces to live in that nice dark corner. We got a question here, chat. Show me the chat. Why is there? Nemo the clownfish. Stoked. Yes. Nemo the clownfish lives on the coral reef. That is an abiotic, a biotic thing. Okay. Cool. All right. So this is the basic biology of an ecosphere. Now this is going to page 11 in your lab manual if you want to follow along. So ecospheres, ecosystems, they need they need energy to fuel themselves. Most of the energy comes from primary producers like plants or microorganisms. So I'm sure we've heard the term that, the air we breathe comes from trees and forests and plants, and that's true. Around 50% of that comes from plants, comes from trees. But another 50% of the air we breathe comes from microorganisms living in the ocean. These guys produce the oxygen we need through a process called photosynthesis. So this is where they take carbon dioxide and water along with energy from the sunlight and turn it into glucose and oxygen. All right. Glucose is a sugar, and that's what they use to fuel themselves. That's where they get their energy from, the glucose. All right. And then as a byproduct of that reaction, you get oxygen. All right. Now, pretty much the reverse of this is called cellular respiration. So what that is multicellular organisms, something like an herbivore that will eat the plants or eat microorganisms, uses the glucose to fuel themselves and create their own energy. So it's pretty much the reverse reaction of photosynthesis. So you've got, in cellular respiration, you've got glucose plus oxygen makes CO2, H2O, and ATP, which is a form of energy, metabolic energy, that then those multicellular organisms use. All right. So if you notice, cellular respiration is pretty much the opposite of photosynthesis. And within your little ecosphere, you're going to have your plants that create the oxygen, and then tiny microorganisms, or maybe some fish, some crustaceans, something that maybe uses that oxygen, then turns it back into CO2 that the plants then use again, and so on and so forth. So it's this perfect cyclical reaction of how an ecosphere really works. Any questions on that so far on ecospheres themselves or the basic biology of an ecosphere? Cool. All right, we're all set then. So this is pretty much the small reaction that's going on in your ecosphere. Now let's talk about what you'll need for your ecosphere. So jumping back to page 9, on your lab manual, you'll see you have pretty much 11 things that you'll need for the ecosphere. Of course, a jar, you'll need a straw to blow in some carbon dioxide and stuff like that. So page 9 lists some of the basic things you'll need for this ecosphere. And then the lab coordinator, Joe, has been so kind as to create a few videos for you to watch about the collection and the setup of your ecosphere. So please look through those. You'll also have a ton of different links, not only in this lab number 2, but then lab number 1 that we talked about last week also has a ton of links on pretty much what an ecosphere is and how do you set it up, how do you keep yours alive. All right. And then this is a pretty cool example of this guy in England who put a plant in a jar in 1960, watered it the last time in 1972, and now it's just thriving in there. So it can be done. It's possible to create a little self-contained ecosphere or ecosystem. All right. And what you guys will be doing is pretty much creating 2 ecospheres or multiple ecospheres. To start, it's going to be just trial and error. You're going to collect all your stuff, create your ecosphere, and see if you can even keep it alive for a few days. All right. And so once you're doing that, once you've collected all your stuff, kind of make some observations about, where you're collecting, what are you collecting? When you do set up your ecosphere, what do you see? What do you smell? What do you, hopefully not taste, but some observations about your ecosphere that will help you in collecting data. And these observations will then drive your hypothesis for the upcoming experiment. And you'll need to manipulate something in the ecosphere to create your second one and kind of create your own mini ecosphere experiment. So data collection is critical to any scientific experiment. This is why it's really key to make nice detailed observations, visual, audio, anything like that about your ecosphere. That way you can go ahead and manipulate those and test those down the line. All right. So to help you guys kind of guide the data collection, we have data sheets on page 17 of your lab manual. This will also be due next week along with your ecosphere selfie. So what it is pretty much you're just taking a bunch of data when you first collect your ecosphere, whether that be like cloudiness of water, number of animals that you see, number of plants, type of substrate, all this stuff that's going to go into your data collection when you first collect your ecosphere and your plants, animals, and whatnot. So again, make sure you're making these observations. What do you notice? What are some things you could change and manipulate for your ecosphere? And what are some of the effects of those changes going on? So start thinking about things that you can actually manipulate to run your own little experiment as you're doing these initial collections, all right? So on page 17, you'll see a bunch of data measurements. I'm sorry for the leaf blowers. The gardeners are outside right now. So I'm sorry if it's getting a little confuzzled here with my speaking. But on page 17, you'll see a bunch of data, bunch of parameters that you want to collect. Go ahead and turn that into a Word document. Reciprocate page 17, turn it into a Word document, and that'll be due next week. You'll send me a Word doc of all these initial of this data that you've collected with your ecosphere. It's a long sheet. It goes all the way to page 19. At the bottom of page 19, you'll see daily, weekly data. This is to keep you guys, to help you guys take data weekly for the ecosphere, because in a couple weeks here, you'll be turning in a first report of your ecosphere. What have you noticed and stuff like that. So this is guys kind of help guide you with taking data on a week to week or daily basis of your ecosphere. So start thinking about that. We got another chat here. I didn't see that. Sorry. Let's see if I can. It won't let me chat when I share the screen for some reason, so I'm gonna have to do in and out. Come on. Should we email you again? Is Google Docs okay? I would prefer it on Word. If you can get me a Google Doc of it, fine. Just some way to get it to me. If you have Word, great. If you can do it on a Google Doc, that works as well. As long as I can see, this pretty much in some sort of format, Google Doc works. I know there's been issues with Google Docs, which is why I prefer Word Doc, but if you can do Google Doc, that's fine. Download it. Yeah, whatever works, as long as I can get it to me via email by next week. All right, let's go back to this. Okay. Any other questions on this so far?
Right. What's the weekly check-in sheets?
The weekly check-in sheets are found on page 19. It's just a bunch of data to help you go through like the water turbidity, the percent of cloudiness, the different, maybe some animals or plants have died, stuff you want to go check in on a weekly or a daily basis. So those are things that you should all keep in mind for this 4-week assessment coming up. You want to continually take data pretty much. If you don't have your lab manual, I realize it's probably not super helpful, me saying page 19, but there's a ton of stuff on here. I'm not going to read it off, but this will be up, so you'll see exactly where to find this when you do get your lab manual.
Okay, so it's basically the assignment for this week is like to prepare for the lab and like make it to the Word document, right?
Pretty much, yeah. For next week, you're going to send me a selfie. Yeah, I'll go through that in a sec, but you're going to send me a selfie of your setup ecosphere. So same thing, send me a screenshot or a selfie, whatever you want to do on that. And then you're going to also send me the initial measurements found on page 17 in a Word document as well. So two things due next week.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions on this and what's due next week at all? Cool. So iNaturalist, pretty much everyone sent me their observations. I think a few students did not. But again, everything that is due will be due 11 a.m. on Thursday before class starts. So I know the schedule says like the week is from whatever, the February 1st to February 8th. Everything that's due for this class will be due before 11 a.m. on our class day, which is Thursday. All right. Anyone want to give me any feedback on iNaturalist? How did it go? Anyone find anything cool or unusual that they want to talk about? Anyone?
I thought it was really cool. I had a little trouble with the naming because I had this mouse, but I didn't know which mouse it was. So I just put a like placeholder as like rodent or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's totally valid. That works. If you don't know what it is right away, or you're not sure, maybe there's a few options on iNaturalist for you to choose, just go ahead and put rodent or mouse. Totally fine, as long as you're got some, idea of what it could be. If you just take a photo of a really big tree and just put unknown, then that's not really too helpful. I saw some people do that. If you're taking a picture of something that large, it often won't recognize it, and you might need to do a few photos of maybe the flowers of the tree or whatnot. But as long as you can at least get some sort of identification, no matter how broad it is, that would be really helpful. And then I did see a lot of people put like their pets, which your pets are adorable and they're cute. But that's really not the point of this exercise. The point is for you to go out and really investigate the biology of your backyard or local parks or whatnot. So I'll accept it this time, but no pets in the future. That also goes for houseplants. No houseplants in the future. Again, not really the point of the exercise. So I'll accept them this time, but in the future, no pets and no houseplants. There's nothing due for iNaturalist next week, but there is the following week. The following week, you will need to turn in 4 more observations through a screenshot. So that averages to about 2 new pictures a week, however you want to do that. But just a heads up, the following week, there will be 4 observations due, but try to get at least 2 pictures in a week. I think that's a pretty reasonable expectation. And then get a variety, get plants, get animals, get mushrooms that are funguses, get anything you want. So just try to make it a little bit more diverse. There's a lot of cool things out there. And it can literally be anything. If you observed a spider walking to your car, or again, in your bathroom or something like that, feel free to take a photo of it. You don't have to go all the way to, a park to do it. It can be literally anything that you see walking around or just outside your house. So if there's any iNaturalist app help, feel free to email me. I'll try my best. I sometimes don't know what errors you guys are encountering, but please reach out to me if you have any issues, and I can try to help give you guys some of that. So that's really all I have. Just to, reiterate what's due next week. You have your ecosphere. Take a selfie of it, assemble it, email me the selfie, complete the day 1 worksheet, email me a Word doc or Google doc, however you want to do it, on page 17, just to get those initial requirements going. And then, like I said, iNaturalist, nothing's due next week, but 4 observations will be due the following week. So just a heads up for that. That's all I have for you guys today. If there's any questions on what's due next week or this lecture, please stick around and ask them. If not, you guys are free to go.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I have a quick question,
Sure,
Max. For the algae code on that website, where do we put it in on the website? Because like I couldn't figure it out.
The promo code for the algae research supply company,
Yeah.
it should be on the checkout. Like when we're getting ready to check out, it should ask you for a promo code that should drop that price down to 0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the code for it in the lab manual?
Yes, the code is
Okay.
right on the first page on the inside, or second page. You'll see the code for it right there. That code
Okay,
is
perfect.
restricted to you. So there's only a set amount of codes. If you borrow someone else's code and get their supplies, they will not be able to use their code in the future. So please make sure you're using your code and your code only.
And sorry, I have just something to say because I just got my lab manual in the mail yesterday. Do you think I'll still be able to like order it and get it in time, or
Yeah,
do you want me?
that's totally fine.
Okay.
Are you in San
perfect.
Diego?
Yeah, I'm in San Diego. I live
Okay,
in
then
the
yeah, they're based
North.
out of Carlsbad, so it should be totally fine.
Perfect. Thank you.
When do we need to get the materials by using the code?
The algae stuff, let me take a look at my calendar here. The algae stuff starts, I think we're going to touch on it next week, but the algae project actually isn't started officially until week 8, so March. So you've got some time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another question. So like when we take the selfie for the ecosphere, like does that mean that we take a picture of like the glass sphere, or like do we like take a selfie of like the of like the things like such as the water and the plants as well?
The whole
Besides
setup. The whole setup.
oh, the whole
So
setup. Okay.
you've got your jar, ecosphere, everything is in here. Selfie with the jar, it all set up, water, everything like that. That's what you'll send to me.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm in New Jersey, but on February 7th, I'm flying back to San Diego. So what
Okay.
should I do for my ecosphere?
Good question. I guess you really can't take that on the plane.
Yeah.
Do you have someone in San Diego that could set up an ecosphere for you?
I have roommates, so I could ask them if they'd
Yeah.
be able to do that.
I would ask them, or what you can do is, you said February 7th.
Yeah.
That's in about a week. Yeah, you probably won't see much in about a week. What I would do is just have one of your roommates do it for you. Tell them what you need from them as far as the data collection goes and what you need to set it up. And then that way, by the time you get here, it'll be set up for you. Just make sure they're doing everything about what you say, because they're not in this class, obviously. So make sure they're pretty detailed in what they're doing.
Okay. And then my other question was, I was wondering if you could give like an example of what you're looking for in the descriptions for the different observations on iNaturalist.
Yeah, let's see if I can pull one up without identifying the student. So, all right. Oops. Okay. So this is one that the student sent me earlier. So you can see it's pretty much just, pancake prickly pear cactus, basidiomyte fungi, roses, queen palm, anything that you can kind of identify going down.
Okay, that's all you want?
Yeah, just the name of what it is. Just try to identify to, at best to species. So, prickly pear or pancake prickly pear cactus is pretty, pretty narrow down. That's the species of what it is. Rosemary, roses not as identifiable, but definitely try to get as close to the species as possible.
Okay, in my email for the one that we just did, I thought we were supposed to like send them individual ones and then describe it. So for that one, for this week, like that's what I did, but I also sent you a picture of just like all 5 of them.
Let me go back and take a look real quick and see what you did.
Yeah, I did that too. I did the descriptions.
Let's see.
But I still put like what everything was.
Oh yeah, that's totally fine. You did a great job.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you did above and beyond. So nice.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what you want to do. So keep doing that. And Steven, you said you did the same thing. Let's take a look. Yeah, perfect. So there's your little mouse. Nice. Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do moving forward. So no issues there. You guys did a great job.
All right, thank you for your help.
Of course. Yeah. Have a good one.
You too.
Let's see, Marianne, do the samples we take for you. So if you go to a pond, I'm answering this question. Are you still around, Marianne? Are you still around? Yeah, you are. Okay, so if you do go to a pond and you see some duckweed floating on that pond and that's not part of your iNaturalist observation, please definitely take that as a photo. That way you can actually identify what is in your ecosphere, which would be pretty cool. So if you do find something in your, in the local pond or whatnot that you're putting into your ecosphere, you can definitely use those as your iNaturalist observations for sure. I think that'd be really cool. All right. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I was just admitted into the class a couple days ago, and I've been hearing a lot about the book manual. I ordered the book already.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for it to come in. But what is the code for, and what do we order from with the code?
So the code is, you'll see when you get your lab manual, there's this code here, this promo code. That is to the Algae Research Supply Company. So again, week 8, you'll be doing an algae project. The supplies for that project will come from the Algae Research Supply. So you don't have to go out and get those supplies on your own.
Okay,
And then
awesome.
the promo code is to give you pretty much free supplies.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I had a question.
Sure.
It was about now I forgot. Hold on.
No worries. Yeah, and I put up, I forgot to mention this in class, but for those of you that are here, I put up a new schedule. And on that schedule, everything in red is what's going to be due that week. So I realized, and then the point value associated with those assignments. So I realized I didn't do that for the first schedule, but it should be edited. So make sure you guys can access that on Canvas. And then if you have any friends in the class, just let them know that I said that as well.
Okay, I remembered.
Yeah.
Does the ecosphere have to have water, or can it be like terrestrial or something?
I think most ecospheres do have the water. That's a good question. I know there's definitely like terrariums you can do, and I've seen them. They're actually like pretty cool to set up. Are you familiar with doing that? Because doing it without water is a little bit more difficult to keep stuff alive and like see changes and whatnot.
Okay, yeah, I was just asking for clarification.
Okay, yeah, I would throw some water in there, just because it allows you to put different things in there. Like in the water, you may see some little microorganisms which you won't be able to see, or you won't be able to keep alive in your like the one without water. So I would put water in there. Good question though. Let me, of the few people that are still on here, Jesse, I think you emailed me. Let me take a look. Jesse, I don't have your selfie or observations yet. So if you can get those to me by the end of the day, that would be awesome. And I'll give you credit for it, since I know there's some backlog of stuff for as far as lab manuals go. So please get those to me by 5 p.m. today.
What was what did you state right now? Because I thought I sent them to you.
Let me take a look. I know you sent me an email. The only email I have from you is for question on the ecosphere, which I hope I answered today, but I don't have anything else from you. So if you have them, you can try to send them to me right now while I'm on here with you. That way I can check you off, but I didn't get anything from you as far as the selfie goes in the iNaturalist.
I'm at work, but is it okay if it's not like the file name, because I don't know if my phone could do that, but I have the pictures here.
Send me anything that
I don't know if that makes sense.
relates that I can connect to you. So screenshot, if you have the app, screenshot it, your profile, send it over to me in the email. Anything that connects you to the iNaturalist observations, and then a selfie of your ID.
Okay.
Did you have a question, Addison?
Yeah. I just was wondering, so I know you were talking about how we also, along with the selfie, we send in the day one of like the observations that we made about the ecosphere. So where you said that was in the lab manual,
Yeah. Do you have the lab manual in front of you?
yeah, I do. I was just trying to find it.
Page 17.
Okay.
So you'll see measurements, and then you'll see, required measurements, and then starting. So you'll put the starting date and time.
Okay.
And then you're going to follow that list all the way down to page 19, where at the bottom of page 19, you'll stop, and then you'll see daily, weekly data. And that's a separate sheet that you'll do for your weekly observations.
And so we only have to do day one. We don't have to do one of the week ones yet. That's not until like next week.
Yeah, none of the week ones yet, since you're just starting off. Do the first one, page 17 to like 19.5 or something like that. Yeah.
And you should just like sort of like imitate that.
In a
in-
Word doc, in a
Word
Google
doc,
doc,
send it.
something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
For the Word doc, did you say we upload it to Canvas or we email it to you?
Email it to me. Email me the Word doc. Yeah. Email it to me. Make sure you also, I should have said this in class too, but make sure you have your Canvas announcements linked to your email, because that's where I'll post any class announcements. So when I do send an announcement, make sure you're getting that in email form. But I think everyone did good with that, so no issues there.
I have a quick question. So I was looking on the schedule that you attached, and it says like week 9 from the 15th to the 18th is like exam 2 during your time slot. So I have to fly to Chicago to help my family with something, and we were planning to come back on the 16th. So I was wondering for like if I should like change it, or like, because I don't know what time like I
Is
would.
the 16th the Thursday?
I'm not sure.
The
Oh, is it
16th
just on our
is a
class day?
Tuesday. So exam 2 will be on the 18th
Oh, okay.
at 11 a.m. Yeah.
Okay, so it's class time.
So it's class time. Exactly. Yeah. During
Okay.
our designated class time. So does that work for you?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank
Cool.
you.
Yeah.
Max, I just sent them. Is there a way you can verify if you got
Let me
those?
see. Let me see.
Yeah, sorry, it's because I don't have my laptop with me either right now. It's on my
Did you
list.
send them? I just got them. Cool. You're good to go. I just got them from you.
Okay, yeah, because I was noticing that you are saying about the house specs and stuff, but I was trying to get like as many things as I could, but like it was snowing where I was, so I couldn't really get anything because everything was hiding or like the plants were dead. Like
Okay.
it's a desert, so
Yeah. No.
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I think those observations look good. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Max. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Just no pets next time. All right.
All right, Roger.
You got a few birds there, so no pets. But
All right.
yeah.
Thank you, Max. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks, Max.
Yeah.
I'll see you next time.
Yep. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one.